And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about you, helping you understand your buying decisions here in Tampa Bay. Over 80 categories of consumer advocate content and advice right here in the Gulf Coast region of Florida. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com. Check out our website, consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region that we've assembled, we've vetted, and we bring on the show to help you understand more about your buying decisions, making you just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. This segment is brought to you by Golf Cart Depot. Big shout out to Marty and his team over at Golf Cart Depot. They have some awesome inventory there. Easy Go. They've got Cushman, Star EV, Golf Cart Depot in Florida here in Tampa Bay. They got a Lando Lakes location, Clearwater, right on the east side of 19 US 19 there, and they've got refurbished or brand new golf carts available at Golf Cart Depot. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And I love getting out on ours. We've been out there doing a lot of door knocking, meeting our neighbors. We got our Keller Williams red golf cart, compliments of Golf Cart Depot. So make sure you give them a call and let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, we got a great lineup for you today here. Fred Muth in the house, the Tin Man, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you. I was just here. As a matter of fact, I spent a week in the break room.
Did you?
Yeah, they have
out?
Great coffee.
Excellent coffee.
Speaking of the break room, in the break room a few minutes ago, prior to the show, we were discussing what we should or should not talk about on the show. And, I could sell Tampa Screens all day long, bells and whistles. Just check the reviews. It's a great company. However, being a consumer advocate show, we always like to bring to the attention of the consumer the possible pitfalls of what can go wrong, especially in the construction business.
Yes.
So I'm going to cover some of that today.
I like that.
Not to be negative, just to be very wary.
Proactive.
Of what, yes, proactive.
Like that.
Proactive, do your homework, ask questions.
Construction industry expert Fred Muth in the house here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also making his debut, Mr. Rob Lundholm.
Correct.
Northeast Regional Director, EAG LED. Welcome in, sir.
That's me. We sell the premium quality LED lights. We pretty much make them custom made to order. They're shipped to your door. Our install crew shows up, very quick, efficient installs, and we move right on down the line.
I like it. All right. So a lot of positive stuff happening around EAG LED lighting, the Consumer Quarterback Show here as well. And the second half of the show, we're going to have Linda Ward as well. She's the president and CEO of Gulfside Healthcare Services, and also Andrew Williams as well with MedFleet Ambulance Services. So I've got healthcare on the second side of the show here on the show. All right. So let's jump right into it. So Fred Muth in the house, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. What have you been seeing out there? Things are busy still?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of panoramic view enclosures. You and I were just talking before we turned these mics on.
I love it.
It's just such a nice concept. I've been doing this since 1992. And the standard cookie cutter, we sell them right and left. But when you can sell a pano view on the backside or even all sides, such an uplift from the standard cage. You know what I'm talking about with the pano view. We have it.
I love that.
We have a photo of it up there?
Yeah, we can have Rob put that up there on the screen for us.
Very nice. Because especially with your house, you have the nice lake on the backside.
Yeah.
When you have a beautiful backdrop like that, who wants to look at all these uprights?
Exactly.
And chair rails. And, oh, man, it's like you're in prison. Forget it. We're going to take you out of prison. We're going to put a pano view on the backside. And I'm doing a lot of conversions. Well, I say conversion. I really can't make it pano view once it's built, but I'm taking the old cages down right now and selling a lot of panoramic views. Pano view, to me, should have been out years ago. And I remember when there was the prototypes came out and the concept was there. They couldn't get the correct engineering for it, and they couldn't get the screens to span that distance. And of course, all them products have been upgraded in the meantime. Now it's available. It's been available for a few years, but they're taking off like hotcakes. Very, very nice. If I had a cage, I have a large screen room at home, but I do not have a pool or a cage. If I did, it would be panoramic view, hands down.
panoramic view makes it just so much nicer. You have the ability to upgrade your home to have an additional space that you can utilize with, free of insects, free of mosquitoes, and even the no-see-ums in some cases, right? Depending on how.
No-see-ums. Got to be careful with no-see-ums. And there is a fabric out there called no-see-um resistant fabric. Okay, resistant doesn't mean it's 100% guaranteed against no-see-ums. You got to remember, a no-see-um is so small you can't see it. That's why they call it a no-see-um. And I've had them on my skin, and I'm wondering what's on my skin that's making me burn and itch. And basically, it's a no-see-um. So, in theory, they can possibly get through even the no-see-um resistant fabric. Obviously, the chances are less, but I never sell that fabric stating that it's 100% guaranteed against no-see-ums.
Right.
Although the standard 1814 fabric, which has been around forever, it's very good on bug resistance.
And we're talking with Fred Muth here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Brimes. Tampa Screens and Aluminum, longtime friend of the program here. And I love it, Fred, when you sit down with the customer, they're looking at to potentially put on a screen room on their home, a lanai, a patio. It goes by a lot of different names. The consultative approach that you have to selling and educating your customers. Tell me about that.
Well, that's the glory of what I do. I'm not just there to sell you something. I enjoy this business. And Rob and I were talking because I'm from the Northeast and so is he. And I get calls constantly. I took one this morning. They want a lanai. They don't know what a lanai is. So, it's my job to educate them what a lanai is. A lanai could be a glass room, screen room, patio room, just screen in the existing. It's sort of a generic term. So when I meet with the customer, it's a question and answer consultation, and I feel them out to try to figure what direction they're going to go. My best customers, I don't like to call them clients, I like to call them customers. I'm selling them a product, actually, are the ones that ask loads of questions. They pepper me with questions. I know it's going to work out very well. And then at that point, I take a look at the back of the house and the ground elevations, and I make suggestions as to what we can and cannot do, should or should not be done. And that consultation is a 20 to 30 minute consultation. It's not that big of a deal. We're not selling bridges here. We're selling lanais, patios, screen enclosures. But coming from the Northeast, where I came from, I came down here, I had no clue what a screen room was. Up there, we had patios and porches, and they were typically glassed in. They had heat and this and that and the other. Down here, it's a screen room, or a patio, or a pool type enclosure. It's the in-between space between the inside and the outside. We moved down here to get away from the crummy weather up there.
That's right.
So we enjoy this non-crummy weather down here, and then instead of being way out back where the sun's cooking you, or inside where the air conditioner is freezing you, you're in the in-between space.
Yes.
And typically, people spend a lot of time in their enclosures.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to add value to the real estate property. We're in a great environment here in Tampa Bay where luckily we're seeing consistent appreciation in real estate values.
Sure.
Right? And I think that's starting to slow a little bit. We're seeing it slow. But on the same hand, there's still low inventory here as well. Have you guys been seeing that too?
It's amazing. You and I have this conversation constantly, and we're wondering where the market's going.
Yes.
Because we really don't know. And prior to this show today, I go out for a hike every day to stay healthy. And I go up the street, and there's 5 or 6 new houses going up. The blocks are going up. I'm thinking to myself, maybe I shouldn't talk about the market leveling off yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Because down the street comes a cement mixer truck. Around the corner is the block truck. Here they go. They're still coming up. But I believe you and I have talked about this. The value of the properties is typically in the $250,000 to $500,000 range. They're the ones that are really hot right now. Am I right with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. If Ray Hall was here, he could chime in with Ray. Where are you? Call in, Ray.
There you go. So yeah, and when you look at the ability to buy real estate as an investment, single family homes, duplexes, triplexes, quads, such a great opportunity. It's a great asset class because you can insure the asset. It's something that people have to live in. So there's an inherent need in the real estate properties.
Sure.
So I love it.
Yeah. You're in a great business, housing.
That's right.
Housing is it.
That's right.
Besides that, LED lights are pretty good too, Rob.
Amen.
There you go.
All of my flashlights have been converted.
There you go. Not quite our forte, but it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So We got Fred Muth in the house, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Rob making his debut. So you're from the Northeast as well?
I am. Cape May, New Jersey.
New Jersey, okay.
Yes, all the way south.
Nice. Okay. All the way down south, coming down for a visit. So EAG LED lighting coming up next here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Fred Muth in the house, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. And we also have a feel-good story of the day coming at you here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check us out online. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter. The Consumer Quarterback Show pages on Facebook as well and other sites. Make sure you follow our YouTube channel as well. We got a lot of great content there on our YouTube channel. Thousands of videos that are educational, and they will help you win in any marketplace, as we say. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
This is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with D'Angelo Star.
The 62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember it. Ask me about
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, you know, we're one of the only states that don't give them back to life. Right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that movie because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. Mm-hmm. And even as Sisters Connected here, you know, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We're hiring to our real estate company right now. We are setting records. Lots of marketing out there, lots of leads coming in. So if you're a real estate agent or someone in this space, we would love to talk to you. Reach out to our hotline, 813-670-7372, platinummvpteam.com. A couple of hot listings here I want to let you know about here in Tampa Bay. We've got a great property available here in Apollo Beach. The property in Apollo Beach it's a great opportunity at 6919 Makers Way, Apollo Beach. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, open floor plan home, no backyard neighbor, and it's lower CDD fees than the other newer homes that are being built in the back of the community. And this property is turnkey, ready to go, beautiful flooring and throughout, and a great opportunity here in Tampa Bay. We've also got a property at 4348 Harbor Point Drive in Port Richey. This is a $2 million listing of ours. This is a gorgeous palace right on the water. Bring your boat. Beautiful property here in Tampa Bay. $2 million listing. Ultra high security. There's 2 guard gates before you even get on the street at Harbor Point Drive, Port Richey. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.com. And Taps Restaurant is the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Huge shout out to Taps Restaurant over at the International Plaza at Bay Street. Excellent food, very friendly staff, and excellent ambiance as well. Very fun ambiance right there at the mall. Dogs are welcome, so they've got a patio area where your furry friends can come and hang out as well. Daily happy hours, 2 o'clock to 7 p.m. happy hours daily at Taps Restaurant Bar and Lounge here in Tampa Bay, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The menu's awesome. They've got great dishes, seafood dishes. They've got excellent bowls. They got the different types of bowls. The Mexican bowl is one that I really like. And excellent food. We're also hosting an event there. So save the date, Wednesday, March 25th, 6:30 p.m. over at our restaurant partner, Taps Restaurant, International Plaza. We're going to be hosting Tampa Bay's best speed networking event. Come on out and join us Wednesday, March 25th, 6:30 p.m. Taps International Plaza, Taps Restaurant there. Also, Fabre Frameworks is going to be on site updating headshots for any business owners that want to come on out. Business owners, sales reps, salesmen and women, come on out and join us Wednesday the 25th. Save the date. All right, let's jump right back into it. So we got Rob in the house. Rob's making his debut. EAG LED lighting. Rob Lundholm here, Northeast Regional Director with EAG LED lighting. And we've heard in the past, lots of your different representatives on the show. So EAG LED, claims to be the best lights on the planet. Tell us more about, how the lights work and what makes them better than the rest.
LED lights are actually a lot like cars, and our boss John Grant always talks about there's many different ways that you can make a car. Like there's an XL variety, and then an XLT, and then an Eddie Bauer, and a different numbers of trims. Our lights are basically made like the premium of premium. If there's a component that's head and shoulders above the rest, we put it in our lights, and we do that because we've been down the road of trying to do things a little bit cheaper, trying to do things a little bit easier, and we always come up with some sort of failure. Our lights are, like I said, they are like the best of best, top to bottom, fixtures, components, raw materials, drivers, diodes. I could get real technical. We only have an hour.
Yeah, get technical.
We choose to use only the best, and in the end, you pay a little bit more for our lights, but they last much longer and much better light and less headache.
And talk to us about that. I was talking to a prospect this morning on the real estate listing side. He's like, well, I can get somebody to do it for 4.5%. Somebody offered me. I'm like, yeah, you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
You're going to be another expired listing. He's already on the market 6 months. And I said, if you relist, I said, why don't you pay one of those flat fee services? But so give us an example of what happens in your industry when, an epic failure, when people are, they're trying to save a little bit of money, but ultimately, you're better off paying a little bit more for the best possible service and the best possible product.
The city of Detroit was kind enough to kind of like throw us a layup when it comes to that exact scenario where they decided that they wanted to do their whole entire town and all the street lights in LEDs. And they put it out for bid, and they didn't really have any bid specifications, and they're looking at a broad range of prices. And let's say, they decided, well, we'll just take the lowest bid. And if anybody wants to Google,
wow,
if you want to Google LED lighting or street lights in Detroit, of all cities with their crime rate, it's probably the worst case scenario. But like after a year and a half or 2 years, like 60% of them are dead.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus. And I believe they went bankrupt too, right? Was that before or after the bankruptcy?
I think this was like something that they did after the bankruptcy.
Oh boy. Well, it doesn't matter at this point.
No, it made a bad situation much worse.
So bad management all across the board.
It's just it's an inferior product.
Yeah.
We make, for an example, we'll make like a panel light that you would see in the average office. Our panel light retails for $159. You can buy them much cheaper. But when you buy that cheaper light, it doesn't have the right plastic, for the lens. The driver's inexpensive, so it starts to flash and flicker, and then eventually it burns out, and you basically spent the money for nothing.
Right, and then you got the labor included and the lost opportunity costs. So give us some examples of maybe some larger scale projects that you've done with Eagle LED lighting.
We've done a lot of, actually we're a nationwide company. We've done our crown jewel is the NASCAR ISM Raceway in Phoenix.
Nice.
And I was actually out there in November, and Ryan, who was on the show last week, him and I were like walking around like kind of kids in a candy store. It's like,
nice.
Oh, look at this, and we were taking pictures, and people are looking at us like, what are these guys doing?
That's cool.
But it was it's a very, really large scale project. We didn't do the whole track, but we did the brand new infield. We did a lot of the under the bleachers with the fan lighting, and it's really something to see.
So we always like to prognosticate a little bit here. Like Fred had mentioned earlier, we talk about, where's the economy going? Where's the real estate market going? And, some experts are already talking about a potential two out of three adults, I guess it was a survey that I heard on the Tony Robbins podcast, say that there's an economic downturn or recession coming. So where do you see the future of LED lighting going?
It's a very good question. LED lighting, there's kind of, I don't want to say it's a race, but just like efficiency improves and everything else, the lumen output per watt is kind of like what everybody's going after. Like 4 or 5 years ago, an LED fixture might be 70 lumens per watts or 60 or 40, and now that's up to 140, in some cases 180 or 190.
Wow.
So like as LEDs develop, they're going to be more and more efficient with more and more light output. So you're actually going to be using less energy to provide more light, and that's where it's going.
And that's the key right there, the efficiency factor. And what about, you hear sometimes people talk about retrofitting, trying to save money and retrofit. What about that?
That's our curse word.
Yeah, that's a curse word.
What happens when somebody does a retrofit, let's say, for example, they take a fluorescent fixture that you have in the studio here, and rather than replace the whole fixture with an integrated LED, they have to take the light apart, they have to disconnect the ballast, they have to wire the fixture around the ballast, and then you're putting an LED light bulb in a fluorescent fixture, and it's too much energy for it to be effective. People make outrageous claims, 50,000 hours, 100,000 hours. Our experience, and we've taken out a lot of those, is that they don't last anywhere near what they did, and somebody could have spent that money to just do it the right way. Yeah. And it's a live and learn thing.
Competitors claiming certain types of, you see that across all business nowadays. Competitors will claim this or claim that or say things that are just totally untrue.
Exactly.
And it waters down the whole, the business landscape in general. So if you just join us, we're talking with Eagle LED Lighting. Rob Lundholm here. He's the director of sales for the Northeast region for Eagle LED Global Lights here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So what else are you saying? I cut you off there.
Certain fixtures can give the industry a bad name. When you go to a big box store, and I'm not going to name any of them specifically, but again, their lights are significantly cheaper, or they can be significantly cheaper, but there's a reason. At a big box store, a light fixture is a homeowner version. It's designed to be on 3 hours a day, and we have customers that will go in and buy these fixtures, and after 2 or 3 weeks, their lights start to turn brown around the edges, or they're flashing, or they don't come right on. It's because they're not made to be in an all day, everyday environment. We make our lights. You turn them on today, they'll still be on in 6 years without shutting them off. Like we stand behind that.
So, Rob, we have a lot of business owners listening to the show, a lot of real estate, mortgage, credit, all types of industries here. Almost, again, 7 years on air now with the show as a consumer advocate, a lot of business owners listening. So who would be an ideal customer that might be out there, driving around listening to the show, or maybe watching our TV show side?
Basically any commercial business, anybody that has lights that are on 2 shifts, 3 shifts, a single shifts, 8 to 5, 9 to 4, whatever. Any business environment. I mean, our business model is we are more of like a cold calling type setup, where we pretty much get in our cars and we drive around, and we can identify businesses from the outside, whether it be, they might have old lights in their parking lot or old lights on the outside of their building, or sometimes you can peek in the door and see fluorescents, and usually half of them are burnt out, and we kind of go after the customer that way. Not saying that it's always easy to get in to see the customer, but it's just like anything else. It takes time.
And does it seem to give you a headache, when you're in an environment where you have the different types of lighting? I think even right there is lighting.
Exactly.
It feels like it over time it might give you a headache.
Yes. Now with most like fluorescent fixtures like this or certain other lights, if you video it on your phone and you like for a couple seconds and then replay the video in slow motion, you can see the pulsing of the light. And a lot of times that, I don't want to say it triggers a headache or awareness, but some people could say, oh my God, that's why I come home with a headache from work every day.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a lot of other disadvantages. There's mercury in the tubes where if somebody were to drop a tube and break it in this office, you should evacuate because there's airborne mercury, which is never good.
Not good.
But our fixtures, none of that stuff. No tungsten, nothing dangerous. It's just a nice, pure, clean light.
Right. Absolutely. I love it. All right. EAG LED lighting, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. I want to thank Rob Lundholm for coming in. Excellent stuff. Great content there. Fred, always a pleasure. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. And yeah,
I mentioned Ray Hall, but I never identified Ray. Ray is our appraiser partner on the real estate.
Ray Hall appraisals.
Ray Hall.
That's right. We were alluding to him earlier.
People may be driving along saying, "What's he talking about, Ray Hall?" well, Ray Hall's my customer too.
That's right.
We built his cage for him.
He bought it. He bought one from you. That's right. TampaScreens.com and EAG EAG-LED.com, EAG-LED.com. And stay with us right here. When we come back, we have Linda Ward coming in, Gulfside Healthcare Services on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to talk a little bit about health, home healthcare, hospice, and other medical side of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Stay with us. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Kansas Star.
62 who knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 who knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore. Ask it to me about
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
as your super connector. We want to introduce you to our 50+ show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back. I've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that image because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you. Got some hot properties here in Tampa Bay that we'd like to talk to you about here. 1401 Seminole Boulevard in Largo. This is a commercial asset that is available. Commercial land for sale, vacant land in Pinellas County. Very hard to come by. 1401 Seminole Boulevard in Largo, corner lot. Great opportunity to build office, medical, retail, restaurant, goods and services right here in Tampa Bay. 0.82 acres available in Pinellas County. The owner is motivated. We just did a $15,000 price reduction as well. Great opportunity to own here in Tampa Bay. 4207 Southdale Mabry Highway, unit number 1203. Just a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property in South Tampa. In your close proximity to all the great shopping and everything that you have right there in South Tampa. 4207 Southdale Mabry Highway, Grand Key Condominiums Association here. And you have a pool on-site, clubhouse. Great opportunities. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com for all of our real estate listings. PlatinumMVPTeam.com. All right, we got Linda Ward in the house, President, CEO, Gulfside Healthcare Services. Welcome back.
Thank you, Brandon. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. And yourself?
Very well, thank you.
Awesome.
So
good
glad
to
be
hear.
Here.
Yeah, so Gulfside. And you brought a friend with you. Do you want to introduce our friend, Andrew?
I would love to introduce Andrew. This is Andrew Williams. He's the Chief Operating Officer for MedFleet Ambulance. And I love this platform that you allow us to be part of, Brandon. You really care about the community. And so because of that, I love to highlight our business partners that serve the community with like missions. And Andrew and his company does just that. So I'm very happy to have him here today.
Very cool. Give us an introduction to your company.
Well, thank you. Andrew Williams for MedFleet Ambulance Service. We're a privately owned and operated ambulance company based in Newport Richey. We serve throughout Pasco County, Hernando County, Pinellas County, and our newest foray is into Citrus County.
Nice.
Yeah, so we cover a pretty large area. We've got about 150 employees. We've got stations in Zephyr Hills and in Brooksville and Newport Richey and Clearwater.
Very cool.
Been at it for about 47 years.
Nice. Okay.
Not all with me. I'm not that old.
47 years. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of times people call, they call 911, an ambulance shows up. They wonder what's the business behind it. So that is your business. Is that right?
Yes, that is our business. And most people don't realize though that a whole lot of ambulance transportation gets done outside of 911. When you call 911, you generally don't get MedFleet. We're what you call an inter-facility ambulance company. So when you call 911, in many areas you'll get the EMS service, you'll get the fire rescue service, and they'll take you to the hospital. And then many times they don't have what you need, the specialty that you need, so they'll transfer you to another hospital. That's where we come in. So we support the 911 service so they don't have to do those sorts of transfers, and they remain available for the emergencies. Also, we'll serve skilled nursing facilities, assisted living facilities, hospice facilities with ambulance service. Since they don't always need 911, they can use us for their more the minor medical acuity calls, thereby again leaving the 911 providers available for time-sensitive emergencies.
Yeah, something that's planned, something that's really in place. So how does Gulfside work with MedFleet, Linda?
Well, we have been working with MedFleet for over 20 years. I've been at Gulfside for 15 and a half years. And the whole time that I have been at the organization, we have had so many wonderful interfaces with MedFleet's expert services. And so we serve 600 hospice patients a day in Pasco County. And now we have over 100 home health patients and palliative. We have about 150 palliative care. So if someone's if one of our patients is at home and has an acute episode but does not need 911, we may call MedFleet and they may transfer if they need to transfer to an assisted living facility or a skilled nursing. If we have patients in our skilled nursing facilities that are transporting home, we'll call them. Many times from the hospital, when we get a referral to assess a patient for need and they're going to transfer to one of our care centers, we'll call MedFleet and they will transfer our patient to our care center. And then we also partner with them for very specialized programs. We can call Andrew and his team for anything that might need their assistance when it comes to transportation services with specialty programs, and they've been very creative, and they're just always available. The other way we partner is really MedFleet serves Gulfside, since we are a nonprofit organization, in some of our special events, etc. So they're just always there for us.
They're always doing things in the community, so they're very large sometimes, so it's helpful to have an ambulance crew there standing by in case somebody falls off a horse or whatever might happen. You know, in the heat of the Florida sun, might have a little issue there. We've always got a crew standing by to make sure everything is just right.
That's awesome. How many ambulances do you have?
We've got about 22 ambulances.
Cool.
Yes, and then we have non-ambulance vehicles that will have a wheelchair lift and a stretcher and back for those that don't need medical attention during transport. That's good for maybe going home from the hospital or going to a doctor's appointment if you're unable to go by yourself and sit up in a chair.
Yeah. We're talking, if you just joined us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, we're talking with Andrew Williams, MedFleet Ambulance Service, medical transportation ambulance here in Tampa Bay. We also have Linda Ward, Gulfside Healthcare Services. And this whole industry, it's intriguing because we all know, we've heard the baby boomer talk. There's a lot of baby boomers, of course, that are retiring. There's a lot more people moving to the state of Florida. And as you know, we talk about on the show, my wife and I own a top Keller Williams agency here in the area. So we just surpassed Texas as the #1 state where people are coming to. And people coming from, the West, of course, California in droves, New Jersey, New York, all over the place, Midwest. People are coming to Florida. So what do you see happening, Linda, with the your two companies, of course, are set to grow, but with the aging demographics that we have here, in the United States?
Oh, well, in this Tampa Bay market and in Florida in general, as you said, the number of transfers in per capita and the number of seniors in the the pool is growing exponentially. So we have to make sure that we have those post-acute services to either keep people in their homes or provide services as they age so that they can age in place.
Yeah.
So with Gulfside, that's one of the reasons why we acquired a skilled home health agency to be part of our continuum of care so that we can keep people in their homes, we can rehab them after a hospital stay, we can help them with resources. The other thing about people transferring in, there's a lot of middle-aged, younger adults who are still in the workforce. So we are always looking for, great employees, and healthcare has great opportunities for that as well. So yeah, I see this area continuing to grow, but we've got to provide more and more excellent services for seniors.
Yeah. So you're actually hiring right now.
We are.
Okay. Well, there's a shout out to everybody out there looking for employment, especially in the medical field. And I see that as a, growing area of need. And I've seen studies where it talked about the need for nurses and, even doctors, for that aging demographic that we have.
Yes, absolutely. And you've had our medical director on your show, which has been wonderful, and our nursing team and social workers and chaplains. And, the excellence and quality of our staff is really, premier to service. And with Andrew's staff, it's the same. We feel that when we call MedFleet Their, EMS staff are going to be expert. They're going to work in tandem with our clinical team, and that there's nothing better than that.
So, Andrew, question for you: Why did you become? Why did you choose to become community partners with Gulfside?
Well, because their staff, it has been a real inspiration to me. Yeah, they're so into patient care. They care so much about what they do. They really love what they do. They're passionate. And that's what I've tried to take on and influence my people and be a leader to my people and show them how wonderful it is to have the opportunity to care for others in need.
Yeah.
And so the people at Gulfside are special. And they love what they do, and it shows.
Yeah.
In the way that they care for others.
It really does. I had the pleasure to interview a lot of your expert contributors for the show, and the chaplain, and it's been great getting to know the folks that help Gulfside grow and Gulfside Healthcare Services here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We also have Andrew Williams, MedFleet, in studio. So when we come back, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, more from our expert contributors. Got Linda Ward in the house, Gulfside Healthcare Services, Andrew Williams, MedFleet here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to talk more about health, home healthcare, hospice, and those things that you need to know when it comes to the aging demographic that we have here, baby boomers and such, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Stay with us. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. Ian Beck.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Kansas Star.
62 who knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week. 62 who knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember you. Ask to me about
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50+ show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that image because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you. And giving a shout out to the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, the awesome Bilmar Beach Resort on Gulf Boulevard in Treasure Island. This is our hotel partner, and I tell you, you got to go check them out. They got 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant right there. And Clyde Smith is the general manager, and he is a hoot. He says, Brandon, we've got one of the largest beaches, but we call it a 2-beer beach. It takes you 2 beers to walk all the way down to the water. He says either 2 beers or 1 good margarita, he says. So, but you can host a wedding, a business event there, Bilmar Beach Resort. Just let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you and take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. A couple of hot listings here. 2689 Sable Springs Circle, unit number 105 in Clearwater. Now this property, it's a ground floor unit, so that's awesome for people that are looking to not take the elevators every time they're going grocery shopping and whatnot. 2689 Sable Springs, you got a pond view, water view in the back, views on 3 sides at this beautiful condo, and it's right down the road from the Clearwater Mall. The Countryside Mall, that is, right there in Clearwater. 2677 Pine Ridge Way North. This is unit number D3, and it's in Palm Harbor. Beautiful property, nice condo, entry-level price point. Great opportunity. Check out all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. We have it under contract. That's right. Yes, that's right. The so cute bad. Beach house she was asking. It's sold. We got it. Well, not sold. It's pending.
Yeah.
So you never know, but we hope it goes through. It was a nice one, wasn't it? So we got Linda Ward in the house. Linda Ward's here, Gulfside Healthcare Services. We got Andrew Williams, MedFleet, as well here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So let's. We wanted to talk about, this was a great point we brought up between the break there, but the cost for these types of services. A lot of people don't realize they hit 911, something happened. It's going to be a very costly event.
Yes, it is. A lot of the cost is built into the preparation, the having the availability. When you call for an ambulance, you need one quickly, so you have to have a lot of them out there, whether there's a big demand or not. So there's a lot of cost associated with that. So that's another way that you can avoid that, is to use MedFleet if it's not a life-threatening emergency. We're demand-driven. So we put enough ambulances out there to meet the demand that we think that we're going to have.
Yeah.
So we are able to provide this service at a lesser cost than your typical 911 municipal county funded agency.
Yeah, and that was a great point too. We had attorney Jason Coble on yesterday's show, and he was talking about, because he covers personal injury law, work comp, medical billing disputes, and he was saying how the coding of a lot of the medical bills has just gotten out of control. It's a large cause of the increase in our healthcare, is just how a lot of the different facilities are just overcharging people. But anyway, that's a bunny trail, not for this show. But we're talking about Gulfside Healthcare Services here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, hospice, palliative care, home health, and also MedFleet in the house. Andrew Williams, MedFleet ambulance service here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So I want to go back to Linda here. So how do the families that you serve, benefit from the partnerships of your 2 organizations?
Well, the families, when they come onto our service, we introduce them to transportation services through MedFleet. So we're educating them, first of all, on if your desire and wish is to stay home and to remain in the home and have, symptoms taken care of, be pain-free, and have a quality of life without having to go back and forth to the hospital, then it's important to know that, you wouldn't want to call 911. Call us first or call MedFleet.
Yes.
Because MedFleet has made available to us that if we have that kind of situation, their team would go out to a person's home and make an assessment and try to see if some alternate option for care would assist. So in many ways, they're complementing and supplementing our own team. And that gives our team and the families and the caregivers peace of mind.
Do you have a success story or something where that has played out? Because I think I follow what you're saying. You're saying, if someone thinks they might need to go to the hospital, Andrew's service, MedFleet, can show up and give an assessment right on the spot and say, hey, you might not need to go to the hospital, but this might be a good thing for home health care, for example. So does that
Yes. So we had a situation probably about a month ago, and now we've introduced telemedicine to our patients, which is another form of instant service by our physician who might be, it might be 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and they're scared. They want to call 911. They call our triage department. We say, hold on. How about if you speak to one of our physicians, get them on FaceTime, and at the same time, they're feeling uncomfortable because there's an acute situation. The person is having some type of exacerbation.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that same situation, we called MedFleet, and I do believe one of your staff came out and assessed the situation as well.
That's awesome. So that's a hands-on approach versus the telemedicine. So telemedicine is good in some circumstances where they're trying to diagnose over the the FaceTime, the Skype, the Zoom type of a call. However, sometimes it's better to have a person right there in the living room.
Right. Yes. And another circumstance to be aware of is commitments are made, promises are made to people in hospice. I don't want to die at home, please, or I don't want to die in the hospital. Please don't let me pass away in the hospital. When hospice calls us and says somebody is actively passing away, they're at the hospital, we really, really want to meet this wish of the families to get them home. That is an emergency to us.
Mm-hmm.
Flat out an emergency call, get them there and get them home so that they can pass away in the peace and comfort of their home.
Yeah, I can see
that happen many times.
That you're absolutely right, Andrew. That is actually more frequent, and our nurses will call. They'll call and they will say that, and you're right. There are many times people are actively dying, but and it could be just minutes after getting home, or within hours, or whatever that time period is, they're home. And it's you guys really, your team really responds.
Success for
yes,
us.
Yeah, that is. And we've talked about in the past as well, Linda, where we've talked about the balance of the patients that just feel more comfortable at home. They're in their environment. They're going to be able to live a better end of days in some cases with the hospice example. But talk about that a little bit, the importance of the home healthcare side of your business.
So because we're not acute care, what's very interesting about hospice is that it truly is in many ways acute in nature, in that the complexities of the clinical situation when a person is at the end of life truly has to be managed by experts who know how to relieve pain based on the person's wish for how much they want to be cognitively aware. That is a very expert type of sensitive and clinically based situation. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that once the pain management is under control, what are the other needs that the person may need at home, whether it's supplies, equipment, medications, etc., so that all that is coordinated. And then as the person is really nearing the end of life, the clinicians have to be aware of the changes in the body that are going to be occurring, and the education for the family is so important so that they know what to expect, and the caregivers really, really do need that. But then other times many of our patients will actually increase in their functioning from hospice, so they may then actually discharge off hospice but be able to go on palliative care or skilled home health care. But being at the home is really, if that is their desire, and Andrew has mentioned that as well, if that is their desire upon admission, we will do everything that we can to keep that person comfortable and keep them at home.
That's important. We're talking with Linda Ward here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Gulfside Healthcare Services, Andrew Williams as well, MedFleet Ambulance Services. Did you want to add something on? I was reading body language. I thought you might want to add something on what she was mentioning there.
Well, I just want to reinforce that we take pride in being there for hospice however they need us. They're doing different programs and things all the time. And I think that it's great that we have this partnership where we can sit down and say, okay, as a component of this new program, we're going to need this kind of transportation.
Yes.
And whether that be wheelchair van, ambulance, or a critical care, a ventilator type of transport, very highly specialized. We're going to need it available during these times. Can you do that? We're we're going to sit down, we're going to figure out how to make that work. If we can't do it, we're going to steer her to somebody that we know does it and does it well.
Right.
So I think that brings a lot of peace of mind to her on their side of things, and we feel like we're serving our customer to the best of our ability.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Linda, back to you. Why does Gulfside look for community partners, or what do they look for in partners like that for the community?
Like-minded, mission-oriented, compassionate team members, really understanding what the service is about so that, they really can provide that be part of the interdisciplinary team. Also, with MedFleet, we each give back to the community, but we support each other as we give back. So, for instance, if MedFleet needs something from Gulfside in terms of supporting them on an initiative or something happening legislatively, I will absolutely be there for them. Same thing for us. When we were applying for a certificate of need, we received a letter of support from Andrew and his team. The other part of partnerships is MedFleet understands that Gulfside Healthcare Services is a 501c3 nonprofit, so they support our fundraising and philanthropy, and have provided many sponsorships for us, have served at our events, have volunteered at our programs, and that's a true partner.
Because you guys have the store also. If anybody wants to volunteer, they can volunteer or donate to the thrift shops.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So, Andrew, we got about 30 seconds or so left. Parting words of wisdom, final thoughts.
Well, something very exciting that's gone on recently in the last week, a week ago today, is MedFleet, after 47 years of family ownership, has sold to a company called Patient Care Logistics. You talked about earlier meeting the growing needs of our communities.
Yep.
Well, we found that the time was right for us to partner with another good organization in order to meet our community needs.
Awesome.
We've taken it as far as we can as a family organization. It was time to partner with somebody that could get that done on a grander scale.
Very good. Hey, another great show. Linda Ward, Gulfside Healthcare Services, Andrew Williams, MedFleet. Shout out as well to Fred Muth and EAG LED Lighting you heard on the show earlier. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback.